Man, oh man. Halloween is getting a video game, and by none other than the good old IllFonic and Gun Media. Just in saying those two studios, I know that opinions will vary, that's for sure. But before we get started, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back today for another video. My name's Stevius, and today, my friends, we are talking about Halloween. So for those of you that may remember, Gun Media and IllFonic, the last time they put out a game together was Friday the 13th. And if for some reason you're not familiar with that game and you're like living under a rock and have no clue what happened with that game, the game was an asymmetrical horror game, 1v7. You pretty much spawned into a main type of location that was really famous from the original Friday the 13th movies. They had a licensing from Sean Cunningham himself to make the game, with everything with the IP and whatnot. And deep down at its core, the game itself was pretty solid. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. I had really not nearly as many complaints as a lot of other people had, but, there was a lot of complaints out there, to say the least, are valid complaints. It really is important to understand the complaints from Friday the 13th if you want to understand why there are so many naysayers and haters when it comes to Halloween the game. There are your typical gaming complaints, things that are just within the game itself, but the big one was the lawsuit. As far as the lawsuit was concerned, it was between Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham, the original authors or writers or whatever of the original Friday the 13th. We're not going to go into all that because we could be here for days talking about a court case, but that's not really that important. What is important is how this affected Friday the 13th, the game. You see, the developers at Gun and IllFonic were given the rights at no charge by Sean Cunningham to go ahead and use that to create the game. When they made Friday the 13th, it was a crowd-funded game. And when they reached all these different goals to make the game, they promised locations, they promised certain types of Jason, they promised all this content that was going to come out. And then when the lawsuit happened, they just had to stop. And they couldn't do anything else. They couldn't make any other new content. And the whole thing just became at a standstill. The real big problem with this was the game was a multiplayer only game, with the exception there was a little bitty, if you want to call it a single player mode, there was a little mode in there that had the ability to do some challenges. You could sneak up on a character. It wasn't anything really fantastic or special. It was kind of cool. I mean, if you like Jason, you like lore, I guess, to the extent, but it was cool, and that was all there was. There was nothing else beyond that. That is with the exception of offline bots. And then here's the best part. They put out a notice in December of 2023 that on December 31st, 2024, Friday the 13th was going to go indefinitely offline. And the only way you were going to be able to play it at that point was going to be with offline bots. And in playing with offline bots, you have no progress. You have nothing that you have purchased skin-wise. You don't have, for some people, the Savini Jason, who paid $9 or $10 for that thing. Any of the skins that you purchased, any of the perks, any of this stuff. Nothing that you could actually use. It's all just a bare-bones offline bot. You can't even use more than probably maybe one or two of the Jasons out of the 7 or 8 that were in there. So ultimately, if you stuck with me through that long 3.5-minute explanation of this, first and foremost, thank you. And the second part of that, is Halloween going to be a repeat of this? Is that what this new game is going to be? God, I hope not, because I really did enjoy Friday the 13th. At its core, it was a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends in the course of that game. Had a great time playing it all the time. It was a bit of a letdown the way that it ended, and I'm really hoping that Halloween is not going to be a repeat of that. If you never played Friday the 13th, then you have no idea what to expect, because Friday the 13th is officially delisted. Unless you've already got a copy of it somewhere, you're never going to get one. So with that, the way Halloween is probably going to play is just like Friday the 13th, just with a little bit of tweaking. The way that is you spawn in as Jason, or in this case it's going to be Michael Myers. There's going to be a number of victims, so that'll probably be somewhere in the ballpark of 5 to 7. The magic number they like to use in these asymmetrical horror games is usually about 7 to 9 people in a match, something to that effect. Usually there's not a real solid way to take out the killer. In Friday the 13th, there was a way to kill Jason. At first, it started off being something that was kind of hard. Then it became something that was kind of easy to do. And honestly, I hope you cannot kill Michael Myers in the game, because it ends up becoming a spamming issue, and it's, if you get somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, it just makes the match not very fun. I think Michael Myers needs to be invincible in Halloween. The end goal is to find the way out of the map to survive it. So in Friday the 13th, you had the boat, you could do that. You found the needed parts to repair it and then, get on the water and escape that way. There was the car, you had to find the battery, you had to find the gasoline, and you had to find the keys. You did all the repairs to it, same thing. You got in the car, you bounced out. The only difference was, with the car, instead of like the boat could hold 2 people. There were 2 cars, 1 car could hold 2 people, 1 car could hold 4 people. And then there was the way that was kind of cool. That was the way I like to do it the most. You found the fuse to the phone box, and then you found whatever you needed for the phone to get that up and running. Then you actually had to call the police, and you had to wait a literal 5 minutes before the police arrived on scene, and then you escaped that way once the police showed up at wherever the random checkpoint showed up. And that was pretty much the game for the most part. Now, if you are a true die-hard Michael Myers fan, you're probably going to love this, because the attention to detail, I have to give it to IllFonic and Gun Media for that. They recreated the Friday the 13th locations from films 1, 2, 3, and 4, maybe even 5, to just no avail. I mean, it was so good the way that they did that. And if they're going to put in that level of detail, it's probably going to be the same way for like the first couple Halloween movies. But what do you guys think of this? Are you excited about this game? Are you not excited? Do you not really care? Are you kind of curious? Drop it in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I tell you one thing, it's going to be really hard for anybody to stream this game or make videos on it, because that iconic Michael Myers music is definitely going to get you a copyright strike if you put that in any of your videos. But hey, it is what it is. Ultimately, I'm excited for it. They said that there's going to be a single player. They said there's going to be a multiplayer, and I hope there's some offline bots. I just hope that there's some way that this game still stays in such a viable way, even after they turn the servers off again. But we'll just have to really see what happens. And as soon as any more news comes out, I'll be sure to put that news out there. But boys, that's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn notifications on so you can be notified every single time I upload a video. And this is your boy, Stevious, signing out, and I'll see you on the next one.